In this video, we are going to discuss how to solve expressions using the order of operations. We can also substitute the word evaluate or simplify when discussing how to solve an expression that looks like this. So we have the expression 8 plus 4 divided by 2 times 3. And as we discussed in class, we're going to use the order of operations or PEMDAS in order to do that. So just as a quick review, remember that the P represents parentheses, brackets, and braces. So anything that groups would come first. The E represents exponents. The MD means that we're going to multiply and divide next. And the add and subtract means that, or the AS is add and subtract, and we would do that last. So we're going to solve this expression by using the order of operations. So we have 8 plus 4 divided by 2 times 3. And our first step is to do parentheses, brackets, or braces. And we don't have any of those, so we can go ahead and move on to the next step. And in the next step, we do anything with exponents. And again, we can look across here and see that we don't have any numbers with exponents, so we can move on to multiply and divide. Now, this step can be kind of tricky because you're going to multiply or divide in whatever order that comes first. So if you're moving across your expression and you see a division first, you're going to divide first. If a multiplication sign comes first, that's what you do first. So in this case, we can see that our division sign comes first. So we're going to do 4 divided by 2 first, which is 2. So we kind of took this 4 divided by 2 and made it one number. So we simplified that. And I'm going to leave everything else as it was. So now I have 8 plus 2 times 3. So I'm still in this step multiply and divide because as I move across, I still have a multiplication sign. So that means I'm going to do that next. 2 times 3 is 6. So again, I kind of took this 2 times 3 and made it one number. I simplified that. And I'm going to leave the 8 still there. So I don't have any more multiplication or division signs, so now I'm moving on to adding and subtracting. And the only thing left to do is to add, and 8 plus 6 is 14. So 14 is our answer to this expression. Sometimes we have an expression that includes parentheses. So in this one, we are going to follow the same set of directions, the PEMDAS, to solve. So our first, which is kind of messing up, there's the P, which means that we're going to do parentheses, brackets, or braces first. And in this one, you can see that 3 times 3 is in parentheses, so that's what I'm going to do first, which is 9. And I'm going to leave everything else exactly as is. Our next step, since we've gotten rid of all of our groupings, is to do exponents. And as you can see, we don't have any exponents. So we're going to move on to multiply and divide. And moving from left to right, my first sign here is division, which means that's what I'm going to do first. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. And I'm going to leave everything else the way it is. So each step that I take, I'm simplifying one little part. There aren't any more multiplication and division, so the only thing left to do is add and subtract. And the same thing that I did with multiply and divide, whatever comes first, that's what you do first. So 2 plus 14 is 16, and I'm leaving the minus 2. And now the only thing left to do is 16 minus 2, which is 14. Not bad. So we're going to take a look at one final problem, which I forgot to finish. And this one has parentheses and it has brackets. So when we see that, we're still going to follow the same order, except for I'm going to work inside out. So I'm going to start with parentheses, then brackets, and then braces if we had them. So I'm going to start on the inside with this 4 plus 3, which is 7. And I'm leaving everything else the same. I'm making sure to keep my brackets in place. So I got rid of the parentheses, but I want to keep my brackets because that still means I need to do that stuff first. So I don't want to lose those when I copy everything down. So I still have to work inside the brackets, and inside brackets you still have to follow the order of operations. So I'm going to do this multiplication first here, which is 14 minus 6, and again I'm keeping my brackets because I have to work inside those first. So now I have inside brackets 14 minus 6, which is 8, and I finished the brackets, so now I just have this divide by 2. Now remember, the only reason that I can subtract before I divide is because I'm still working inside the brackets. Okay, and then 8 divided by 2 is 4. So as you work through your problems, be sure to follow your PEMDAS steps and make sure you go through and ask yourself, have I done all of the parentheses, brackets? Have I done all the braces? Once all of those are completed, and remember inside there you still have to follow order of operations, then check for any exponents. Go through and do any multiplication or division, being sure that you move from left to right. So if division comes first, you divide first. If multiplication comes first, you multiply first. And then the same thing with adding and subtracting. You do whichever operation comes first in the problem. It's also nice to make sure that as you're solving, you kind of get this upside down triangle to lead you down to one number. Make sure that your work is neat, and if you have any questions, make sure you ask me in class.